What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Bryant Bulldog Sports Hour on 990 WBOB, the number one radio program for all things Bryant athletics. I'm Brian Kostiw reporting to remotely. I'm joined alongside, as always, by Matthew Carvalho in the Sprout co-working studio. Matt, glad to have you back on the program tonight. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Brian. Glad to be here to talk some Bryant athletics. Get us into it, Brian.
Yeah, Matt, I mean, listen, we have a lot to get in touch with tonight. Just starting off in a couple minutes, we're going to be joined alongside by women's soccer goalkeeper Selena Negron to discuss her team season as the America East playoffs inch closer. Then at 8:30, we'll chat with head football coach Chris Merritt about his team coming out of the recent bye week and getting ready to play the defending CAA champion URI Rams on the road this weekend. And then in our final segment, we'll be joined alongside by America East preseason all-conference selection Quincy Allen from the Bryant men's basketball team. We'll talk about his selection there and how the team is preparing for opening night against Siena on November 3rd. So, Matt, it's going to be a great show. We're excited to get in touch with all those interviews in just a couple minutes. But before we do that, we have our opening segment right here. And I just want to say that in the time that we have, I want to review some news that happened in the world of Bryant hoops today, both men's and women's. The America East preseason polls dropped this morning, and we'll start off first in the men's segment, where, of course, the defending champion Bryant men's basketball team had some significant changes this offseason. You had coaching changes, you had seniors graduating, you had transfers coming in and out. And it's a very different looking ball club than it was last year. It is a very different looking team. So evidently that was reflected in this preseason poll, with the men's basketball team predicted to finish 6th in the poll. Matt, I know that, I was talking with you on Tom's show about your opinion on this. I just give me your thoughts on this preseason prediction right now.
Well, Brian, I got to tell you. Firstly, look, with all respect to the America East and the pollers and everyone that puts a lot of work into creating this poll, I know it's a lot of effort, but, and I said this on my show as well, this is just blatant disrespect to your reigning, defending, undisputed America East Conference champions. How dare they put them at 6? Look, if you really want to argue Vermont, I'll listen. I'll hear that out. They've done a lot of recruiting, a lot of new players. I can get the argument towards Vermont. But anyone else, I think Bryant can go toe-to-toe with anyone with not a lot of fear. There's no other teams that gives me any legitimate scare. It's
Yeah,
disrespectful.
Yeah, Matt. I mean, listen, so the way the preseason poll rolls right now, it goes Vermont receiving 7 first place votes. Maine and UAlbany were tied for second, but Maine got a first place vote. UMass Lowell was fourth, got a first place vote. Binghamton was fifth, Bryant sixth, and then the remaining teams on the poll in order, it goes UMBC, NJIT, and New Hampshire. So it's going to be a very interesting to see how this all shapes up this season. Some kind of surprises there, honestly. Seeing Binghamton kind of rise above UMBC. UMBC was a very competitive team last year, so it's kind of surprising to see kind of how this, poll has shaped out. But I'll tell you this, Matt, like, it's a very different looking roster than a year ago, and the America East as a whole lost a ton of players to the transfer portal last year. I think I was listening to Media Day, the America East Media Day earlier this morning, and it said that on average teams lost around 8 players. So it is going to be in a entirely different league than what we thought from last year. And of course that, the mainstay has always been that Vermont's been the favorite every single year. So that makes sense why they're going to be in that position. And with Bryant losing the amount of talent they did, I wasn't certainly expecting them to be a first place team. But I will tell you this, for Bryant fans that are maybe down on this kind of, placement in the preseason poll, let me tell you this. Less than 2 years ago, I want to let you know that less than 2 years ago, in a different sport for Bryant, the Bryant baseball team was predicted to finish 5th in the America East coaches poll. They did that in 2023, where, they finished 26 and 24 the previous year. They were 500 in league play. And really, there were some questions about what the team was going to look like the following year, because they only had 3 pitchers that had thrown over 20 innings that prior season. That year in 2024, they go out and they won the conference. So I'm not trying to make any predictions about the Bryant team this year. Obviously, those are two different situations. Those are two different sports and teams. But if I may say, like, you never know what you're going to get out of a coach's poll. Like, it's always just predictions. It's, just, people and these coaches really just trying to think how they think the league is going to shape up. But let me just tell you, like, we've seen crazier things happen. And, whether Bryant was to go on and win the league or just be more competitive than sixth place in the conference, which I think that they will be based on the talent that we've seen Coach Jamie and Christian bring in. I think that there's, definitely some hope to be had here instead of just hanging your hat and just settling for sixth place.
Yeah, absolutely, Brian. I mean, I think, the makeup of this team and the way the structure should definitely be higher than six. I think if you look at the recruiting process and the way they're going to play their game, it's going to be different from last year. The team you had last year was special, and you're not going to get that exact style of play again. But this is a totally different sort of offensive structure, the way they're going to play. It's going to be much more European. When you have a lot of European players, you have a coach that coached in Italy for multiple years, it's going to look different. It's going to be a totally different style of play that can still go toe-to-toe in this conference.
Yeah, Matt, it's going to look different, but I also think that that's indicative of why they are in the place that they are. They did a lot of recruiting from players overseas. And when you do that and it's not guys that have been in the college system, these coaches sometimes don't have the ability to, I mean, they can obviously do their own recruiting, do their own scouting on these guys, but if that data isn't as readily available as guys that have maybe, played in the high school ranks or have, been, in the college ranks and what they have, it's a little bit more difficult to judge what we have there. So I would say for Bryant fans, don't, sound the alarms just yet. I think that this Bryant team has got a lot to show, from what I've seen from them. They have a ton of talent. We're going to talk with one of those talents coming up towards the end of the show in Quincy Allen. Matt, before we go to commercial, though, I just want to say that the women's basketball team was picked to finish third in the preseason poll, just below Vermont and Maine. And let me tell you, this is going to be a very interesting team this year for Coach Lynn Kostiw. She's returning a majority of her starters. They have some great portal additions this year, with Abby Lindsay being one of them from UMass Lowell. They've made some great freshman recruiting as well. So I'm really excited to see what this team can bring to the table. I think that women's basketball this year really has a chance to take a big step. And with these girls now having the experience of, going to an America East semifinal, falling in that kind of game and, having that type of a learning experience, I'm excited to see what they'll do with this moving forward.
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely a good sign for this team. And I mean, they've come close. They've had good runs for the past couple of years, but the way they made up this team this time around, this could be the time they get over the hump.
Yeah, and one of the players that's going to try to help get them over the hump will be Mia Mancini. She was the Bulldogs preseason all-conference selection for them on that side. So I'm excited to see what Mia is going to do. I mean, she's in her junior year this year. When she first burst onto the scene as a freshman, she really kind of took over the league in her first couple games. Like, she came onto the scene and it was like, oh my God, she is legit. Like, watch her play. But then over some games, you started to see some teams kind of get film on her. They started to game plan for, her in the scouting report then instead of some other players. And she had kind of those struggles throughout sophomore year. She was able to regroup and kind of find herself towards the end of that season. And I think that that's going to reflect this year. I think junior year is going to be a big jump for her. I can't wait to see what she does for the Bulldogs. So I'm really excited for both the men's and women's teams this year. If you want to get interested in purchasing some tickets to those games, they're now on sale at BryantTickets.com. So make sure you go on to BryantTickets.com and purchase your tickets for those single games now. We'll be back in just a couple minutes, though. I know we're up against the clock here, Matt, but I did just want to talk about those opening segments with men's and women's basketball. It's really interesting to see where they're placed right now, and it's crazy that basketball season's right around the corner. I can't wait for everything to get started on November 3rd. We'll be back in just a couple minutes, though. When we do return, we're going to be joined alongside by women's soccer goalkeeper Selena Negron. We'll be back in just a couple moments. You're listening to the Bryant Bulldog Sports Hour here on 990 WBOB. Brian Kostiw, Matthew Carvalho reporting to you on this Monday night. We're about to be joined by our first guest of the evening, but before we do, we just want to say that tonight's guests are brought to you by the Sprout Co-working phone lines. For all your co-working needs, large or small, visit sproutcoworking.com Now on the Sprout Co-working phone line is Bryant Bulldog's women's soccer goalkeeper, Selena Negron. Selena, how you doing tonight?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great, Selena. So, first things first, you had a great resurgence this year, being able to come back this year from injuries last year, and you're putting together a great season in net. Just for yourself, how great has this been for you to have this kind of a senior season, getting back from some of the setbacks you had a year ago?
Yeah, this season has been awesome. Probably my best season here at Bryant so far, and I really couldn't be any more grateful for it. Our team in general has just been so great as just like creating just a great atmosphere. From the freshmen all the way up to our seniors and captains, and I'm just really grateful that it's been such a great season, and we hope for it to go even further.
Yeah, absolutely. You've had a great season in general, and we've had a chance to talk with Coach Biggs about it, in previous episodes. And something that's really been, interesting about your success this season is that it's been in tandem with Shannon Mejia, who's also shared the net with you this year. You guys have kind of had a platoon situation going on, in the cage, and it's really worked out well this year. You guys have had 9 shutouts. It's a school record. It's been an unbelievable season for you two. For you, how has that process been of working alongside Shannon and being able to come in when needed and work like that?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a special thing. It's not really seen a lot in our conference or really in college soccer at all. And I think it's just really special. I mean, we both push each other so much to just play at our best all the time. Even with our other two goalkeepers, Lillian and Emily. And I think that just it kind of helps us even like become like even better friends as well. I mean, like we're really great individually, but I think as a goalkeeper position, like you kind of have to work together as we're both splitting minutes, and I think it's just helping us play better individually, but also just as a team as well.
Yeah, totally. You guys have had some great games this year. I know that you guys are approaching the end of your season now, which is crazy because just a couple. It seems like so short ago. We were talking about Coach Biggs about your season opener, and now you guys are approaching the end of the regular season here. You guys have a bye week in between though. Just talk about like what you guys are going to use this bye week for to really kind of clean up on, maybe rest up. Like, what's going to be the overall focus with the team over these next 10 days?
Yeah, I think having these 10 days definitely is going to be used to stay focused, but also rest our bodies up a little bit. I mean, we've been playing since like the first week of August, so it's been a long road already. So definitely some recovery, but also just staying really focused on our goal and hopefully preparing for our opponent at UMass Lowell. So very exciting.
I was about to say, you guys have that UMass Lowell game to end the regular season. You guys played against them last year in the America East playoffs and got to battle against them there. For you guys having the chance to end your regular season against a team like that and maybe, kind of get some revenge on them from last year and kind of have that kind of a game, like how excited are you for that, opportunity to play them to really, close out the regular season on a strong note?
Yeah, I mean, we've had them at the end of our season for a couple years now, and I'm really excited. I think our whole team has that fire underneath us as because we lost to them in the quarterfinals last year, and so I think we just all have that fire underneath us, and we're so ready to play them. I think we're all just really pumped.
Yeah. For yourself, like you're looking ahead to this game against, heading up on the schedule. And, you never know, as a senior when that last game might be. Who knows at this point? Like, we hope you guys continue on to the playoffs, have a ton of success. But, for yourself, how special has it been getting to be a part of this team this year? You talked about being able to, come back from those injuries, have those great season that you've had this year, and you've gotten to play alongside these girls that you've played alongside for 4 years. Just how special is this group this year?
Yeah, they're so special. I mean, we've really turned the culture around on our team just to become all like just really great friends. I mean, they're all like my bestest friends, especially the senior class. And I mean, we played with them for now. This is our fourth season playing together, and I mean, we couldn't be any closer. And I really enjoyed this season so far. It's just really special as it being our last season. And yeah, I hope it really never ends, to be honest.
No, totally. You've had, off the field as well. You guys have had some really exciting things happen. I know you guys ended up getting a new locker room this year in the Navigate Credit Union Fieldhouse. For you being a senior, maybe you didn't know if you were going to get the chance to see it, just with how everything was transpiring. Evidently, you did get it for this final season. That was something that was really special, I know, for you and the team. How awesome was that? And just talk about the experience of getting that new locker room.
Yeah, that's something that we were really looking forward to this year, especially as a senior, since I will only have it for this season. I mean, it's just such a thing that I'm very grateful for. I mean, just something that I feel like we've been earning as our season's been going on in the America East. And it's just a really nice space that can help us with recovery and just everything. I mean, it's just a really nice space, and I'm really grateful to have it in our program.
Yeah. And then, we talked about, what it's meant for your teammates and getting to play alongside them. When you look at this team and, you kind of take it back to the start, we had a chance to talk with Coach Biggs, and he's, been very complimentary of you and Shannon and the rest of the players that are on this roster. How much of this success can you really attribute to Coach Biggs and this staff? Like, just talk about how appreciative you are for kind of them.
Yeah, I'm super appreciative of our staff. I mean, we had Lauren come on 3 years ago, I want to say, and Coach Brian's been on for a few years as well. But they've been super helpful with everything. I mean, they're always there for you to be able to go and talk to them at their offices. They're just very upfront and honest with you about what your role is on the team, and they just really believe in you, and they're really open about how much of a contribution you can be to the team, and they just are really great. And I think they've also just helped a lot with my confidence just personally, and I know with other people as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Selena, we just want to really thank you for coming on the show tonight. We really appreciate you taking the time, and we wish you the best of luck the rest of this season.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right, absolutely. Take care, Selena. All
Thank
right,
you.
Matt. Well, before we end up heading off to commercial and having our next interview set up with Coach Merritt, I just wanted to say that thank you again to Selena for coming on the program. It was great having her. And while a lot of there's been some shine like on the men's team and to, national rankings and everything, I think that it's really important. Kind of looking at the season this women's team has had and just seeing the improvement that they've had over the past couple of years where, they were out of the America East playoff picture. They were able to finally break through last year and, have that game and get into it with UMass Lowell. And, this year we've been able to see that improvement continue. And, that started in net with Selena and Shannon, really strong goalkeeper play there. And, these seniors have really helped shape and, reshape the culture of Bryant women's soccer. It's really something special to see.
Absolutely, Brian. And when you look at it, this looks like it really could be the year that they get over that hump and get to the peak of the America East.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the America East in both men's and women's is a tough league. But listen, I think that there's always a chance with them. I think that they have great talent on this roster, and they've played some great competition this year. So I think that tying some of these tough draws have even been something that you can look back on and say that when it gets to playoff time, that's kind of becomes a flip of the coin. If it goes to an overtime, if it goes to penalty kicks, like it can really kind of go anywhere at a certain point. So, I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait to see what they kind of do moving forward. I'm really excited for the future of that program.
Absolutely, Brian. Well, it is that time.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. Well, we're going to throw it over to commercial real quick. When we are back, we're going to be joined alongside by head football coach Chris Merritt. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to 990 WBOB. Welcome back to the Bryant Bulldog Sports Hour here on 990 WBOB. Brian Kostiw, Matthew Carvalho with you in studio. We're about to be joined alongside by our next guest of the evening, but before we do that, we just want to say that our next guest is brought to you by the Sprout Co-working phone lines. For all your co-working needs, large or small, visit sproutcoworking.com. Now on the phone line, as always, in our 8:30 slot is head football coach Chris Merritt. Coach, how you doing tonight?
I'm great, Brian. How about you?
Doing good, Coach. Well, hey, we got a chance to talk with you about your, mentality and the team's kind of goals going into this bye week, trying to rest up, get, some things right with the team heading off, for the second stretch of the season. Just talk about what you guys, how this past week kind of went for you guys.
We got a lot accomplished. We got healthy and a lot of little dings and bruises that were nagging us. We got some good conditioning in, and then we got a great opportunity to get some younger guys some reps in practice and kind of develop them as well. So it was all in all a pretty good week. Now we're jumping in, jumping in the Rhode Island pool now. So we're getting after that full board.
Absolutely. You talk about some of these younger guys getting the chance now. One of those guys that we've seen over the past 2 weeks and now having another week of getting those number one reps is Jaden Kiefner. He's really been able to, make some progressions as of late. Just, since he's had this time in light of Brennan's injury, just talk about the improvement that you've been able to see him make.
Sure. Like I said, I think the number one thing for him is his clock in his head is getting faster because he's getting through the reads quicker, and only repetitions are going to help out with that. And he's getting more and more. He's getting the starters reps in practice now, so his eyes are getting through the progressions quicker, which allows us to do more. But we're also tailoring the offense to kind of meet his strengths as well. So it's been a good week to attack both fronts.
Yeah, absolutely. When he has that dynamic element of his offense, being able to take off, scramble, and pick up big gains, like, how much does that really help your game plan going into some of these, upcoming matches where maybe, Brennan can, makes things happen in the pocket. He's shifty up there, but the escapability that Jaden has is really special. Just talk about what that presents for, you as a coach when you're game planning.
Sure. Well, I can tell you what it does to our defensive coaches when we play a quarterback that can run. I mean, you have to account for him.
Yeah.
You either can do it one of a couple of ways. You could put a spy, but everybody extra that you use to account for the quarterback to run is one less guy in coverage. And Jaden has shown the ability to throw the football.
Yeah.
And as his eyes get to the progressions quicker, he's going to really hurt some teams that really have to dedicate extra defenders to stopping his feet. So, I think that's as he continues to get better. And Brennan is not somebody that we wanted to run, but Brennan's got some elite arm talent that he was able to attack a defense, all 53 yards wide. Jaden has shown the ability now he can throw the ball deep. He's also very good on the run when it comes to throwing the ball on the run. So we're kind of tailoring our offensive package to highlight his strengths.
Sure. I know another player that you guys have been really happy with his improvement this season and just what he's brought to the table has been Elijah Elliott since he's come over from Montana State. Just been a special year for him with, 467 yards on the ground, 192 in the air, and, 7 total TDs. He's been absolutely amazing for you guys. Just talk about the value he's been able to bring to this offense as well, both on the ground and through the air.
Sure. Well, I'm going to add a third element to that. I think he's just been just as impressive off the field too. When you in recruiting Elijah, we wanted him, and we talked about finishing his college career the right way. When he first went to Montana State, he was getting quite a bit of playing time. For whatever reason, I know he had a groin injury and things like that, but his last 2 years there just did not get the reps and the carries and the playing time that he wanted. So he jumped into the portal. We recruited him here with this opportunity, and he's come in. And the thing that he's done off the field, very rarely do you see a transfer come in that the team automatically, gravitates towards, and they elected him captain. I think that says volumes about the type of kid that he is, his work ethic. He's taught our younger players on this football team how to be a pro, how to go about your daily business, the attitude that he keeps, and he's executing on the field too. So he's been a great addition to the football team. He needs to finish this strong, these last 5 weeks strong to finish off his career the way he envisioned it.
Yeah, and I think that's also just so important where it's like he's, been this kind of a leader off the field, and then you see the success that he has on the field as well, and it's kind of proof of concept where it's like he's going to lead himself a certain way and have that kind of success. I think that speaks volumes for the players on the field too, getting to see that the way he carries himself does pay off in the end.
It does. I mean, you always get nervous when you take kids out of the portal because you don't know why they're always in there. And I think in the running back room between Elijah, Dylan Kedzior, and Grant Robinson, we hit 3 home runs with 3 really good kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Staying with the offense, you guys have had some, you guys were really poised with the challenge of having to replace Landon Ruggieri, who, set a ton of records for Bryant last year, is one of the best to ever put on the black and gold. And you guys had to really, look into replacing that kind of offense with maybe a different, with a different grouping of guys this year. And you guys have been able to be really successful with that, with Zaheem Kollick, Al Doe, Tristan Riley. I know obviously in a perfect world, you'd love to have, you'd love to have, both the star receiver and the depth on the side. But for yourself as a coach, like when you're game planning, like, which do you kind of prefer having? Do you prefer having that kind of guy like Landon that, can take the top off the defense, is so dynamic like him? Or do you like being able to spread it out a little bit more with some of these other guys?
Well, I always like the ability to not let the defense focus on somebody specific. Obviously,
Sure.
when you have such a dynamic player that Landon was for us, that helps. But I think that the confidence that his quarterbacks had in Landon over the last 2 years of his career really led to all the targets. We never told the last two quarterbacks that you had to throw the ball to Landon, or actually last three quarterbacks, right? So it's just that they developed so much confidence in him that they knew that they threw the ball anywhere near him, he was going to catch the darn thing. So
Yeah.
Landon earned every target that he got. And then as he was gaining success and, that obviously separated him from the rest of the pack. But I think this year, by being able to spread the ball around, there's no focus. There's nobody, Landon drew coverage sometimes, people would bracket him and put another safety over top of him. Well, now you can't do that in our offense, which allows some athleticism. And then we've got speed. Zaheem Kollick is he takes the top off defenses now.
Yeah.
His speed is something that we feel that we can win those one-on-one matchups.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, Zaheem has been an absolute stud for you guys. That we've seen that speed, and you even said that speed translates FCS to FBS. It's going to translate regardless. And he's been a tremendous addition for you guys. As you guys now look ahead to, your first road game in 4 weeks, obviously you guys have had this homestand and been able to, stay at home now. And I will say that, you guys have been able to be extremely competitive on the road this year, with the two games at Campbell and New Mexico State, and then the win at FBS UMass. You guys have proven that you're not going to back down on the road. Just talk about, is that just a mentality that the guys have had in the locker room? Has that just been something that's been preached? What do you think has really led to that strong presence of really not backing down on these road games this year?
But to be honest with you, I think our guys are going to fight you tooth and nail no matter where we play. This wasn't quite the homestand that we anticipated or wanted to have, but it's in the history. There's nothing we can do about it now, but look forward to the next game. The next game is always the most important one. And yes, this is a road game, a whopping 27 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
maybe 30 if we catch traffic. But it's, this is a game where it's an in-state game. Tremendous amount of respect for Rhode Island and what they've been able to accomplish since 2019. And I kind of look at them and I kind of look at us. If you look at where they were back in 2020, 2019, pre-pandemic, we were kind of in the same spot. And as we continue to develop and as a football program, we hope to have the same type of success. But, let me tell you that this is a big game for Rhode Island and the state of Rhode Island and the locals and our alumni. And we're going to go out there and we're going to swing. We're going to swing as hard as we can and give it our best shot. And we'll see. I think we both had similar results against the same Brown team. So I think the scores were similar. I think the stats were similar. Now we just have to go out and play our ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And Coach, we wish you the best of luck with doing that this Wednesday. Before you do go, I just want to say that, aside from the game this week, there's also another important date on the calendar for Bryant Athletics and Bryant as a whole this week. That's this Wednesday, which is Bryant Giving Day. Obviously, the donations that are made from the alumni, the people that help and support this program are greatly, are really valuable to this program and, all the other programs on campus as well. Just, from your experience, just talk about, how valuable, the Giving Day experience has really been for you in this program and how that's kind of helped you guys.
Absolutely. Giving Day allows us not only for the donations directly that we get through our donors, but we've got several well-to-do alumni that also match those donations, and that stuff is so important, especially for a program that's growing. We wouldn't have the brand new the Navigant Credit Union Fieldhouse without the donations, the locker room without the donations. Charlie Granatel's got a great nutrition station within our locker room, and that's what we intend on using the money that we get from this Bryant Giving Day in order to fuel and feed our guys. And as we continue to grow as a football program, we need to do the things that are out there that other programs our level are doing, and we need to do it first class, which we're getting that done here. So no doubt about it. It's a great Wednesday's a great opportunity for us to catch ourselves and get ourselves on even par with the rest of the CAA, and the generosity of our alumni and families from our football program and supporters can't go unrecognized. I mean, it's too important for us.
Absolutely. It's extremely important day for, your program, all the programs, and really just Bryant University as a whole. We, encourage everyone to, give, to donate to, any team you're choosing, but especially, give to Bryant football. It's it's a team that is continuing to be on the rise. You're seeing all the amenities of these of the facilities paying off for you guys, and it's incredible to see. So we encourage everyone to give this Wednesday. We really appreciate you taking the time, Coach, and we wish you the best of luck this Saturday as well.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it, buddy.
All right. Take care, Coach. Yeah. All right. Well, that was Coach Chris Merritt joining us on the program. Before we do go off, I want to just say that, this football team, it's had its ups and downs this season. And like Coach Merritt said, it wasn't necessarily the homestand that he was hoping for, and maybe this team was hoping for, but at the end of the day, it's history. And you have a chance now to go in and make a adjustment this year. It's going to be really interesting to see how that kind of goes. I'm really interested to see how that's all going to transpire. We will be back in a couple minutes. When we are back, we'll be joined alongside by men's basketball player Quincy Allen. Before we do that, though, I just want to say that we really appreciate everyone taking the time tonight to really tune into the show. We really appreciate everything. It's been a really great, show so far. And when we are back, though, we're going to be joined alongside by Quincy. We're going to talk about the team this year, with a lot of things transpiring and taking shape. Obviously, it's going to be a new coaching staff, a new look roster, but it's still going to be that same drive for an America East championship. We really look forward to having Quincy on in the next couple minutes. We'll be back in just a couple minutes, so take care. We'll be back very shortly. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to 990 WBOB. All right, welcome back to the Bryant Bulldog Sports Hour here on 990 WBOB. Brian Kostiw and Matt Carvalho in for our final segment of the night. Before we get to our final guest, I just want to say to join the WBOB team this winter, watching your Bryant Bulldogs at the Chase Athletic Center. Single game tickets for Bryant men's and women's basketball are now on sale at BryantTickets.com. For more on the Bulldogs, be sure to listen to the Bryant Bulldog Sports Hour, which you're listening to right here on 990 WBOB. We're now joined by our final guest of the evening. They are brought to you by the Sprout Co-working phone lines. For all your co-working needs, large or small, visit SproutCoworking.com. Now on the phone line is America East preseason all-conference selection, Quincy Allen. Quincy, glad to have you on the program tonight. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing good, Quincy. Well, first of all, congratulations on the preseason nod. We are, glad to see you're getting represented for Bryant, early on in the season. Kind of just take us through that. I know it's a, preseason little nod, but just talk about what that kind of means for you getting this early recognition.
Honestly, of course, it's an honor, but my main focus is just win the championship, American East championship with the squad. I think we got a real good chance to do it, and run it back with March Madness, and then ultimately, if that's the goal to win first team all conference at the end of the year. But I think my focus right now is really just on the collective unit, just getting better every day and just gearing towards winning the American East.
Absolutely. For you now, like you've, had a couple different stops throughout your college career with Colorado, JMU, Chicago State. Just talk about what really interested you in Bryant. Like what really got you to, decide to sign on here in Smithfield?
Well, I would say, when I went in the portal at around just on the springtime after the season at Chicago State, Coach Bruce, he reached out to me. And he told me that Coach Jamie coach would be, the new head coach. And Coach Christian and I have had a relationship for probably about a good like 6 years, just because he recruited me when he was at GW back in like 2019, 2020. And so we had a good relationship, since me being from the DC area. And so I think I didn't really hesitate to, really take a good interest in being here, because I was already comfortable with my head coach. So,
Yeah,
it was an easy choice,
yeah.
so yeah.
Absolutely. For you now, getting a chance to have that prior relationship with Coach Christian, be on this team now with him and getting to actually be coached under him. Just talk about how that experience has been and how he's been for these past couple of months.
It's been amazing it's been really kind of the first time coach, really a head coach, has kind of like embraced me for who I am as a player and just wants to see me get better. And, it's just an honor that, he thought that I could be a great addition to this team. So, like I said, just it's been great just, working with him, day in and day out, kind of picking his brain coming from overseas. I know he's been around the program, and, that being my ultimate goal is just being a pro. He knows what it takes to get there. So I know I just picking his brain. We have a really good relationship, so we talk a lot just about basketball, about, off the court stuff, fatherhood. It's just a really good relationship, and it's gonna keep growing. So yeah.
Absolutely. While you may be new to, Bryant's campus in general, it's not the first time that you've played alongside a former Bulldog. I know back during your days at JMU, you actually shared the court at one point with former NEC Rookie of the Year, Michael Green,
Yeah,
during his grad season there. I know you two were
yeah.
pretty close. Just what was it like when, I know you guys were close. Just talk about what it was like when he found out that you were going to be suiting up at his old stomping grounds.
Nah, he reached out to me pretty quick, and honestly, he asked me probably like a couple weeks ago what it's been like, and nah, he was excited for me to have a fresh start, and him having success here, he just knew that I was gonna have the same type of experience. So, nah, he was definitely excited. So, yeah.
Yeah. I was about to say Mike was a friend of my old show. I had him on there when he made his decision back in 2021. Just when you look at the JMU team, I know obviously you were battling some injuries that season, but
Yeah.
that team was still a part of a great March Madness run,
Right.
taking down number 5 Wisconsin in a
So,
great all-time upset. For you, just talk about what you were able to learn from that experience and just how valuable that has been for you now coming into this team.
honestly, it's all about kind of just the start. I feel like in the start of that season, we off the rip, our first game we beat Michigan State at Michigan State, and coming into the season here, I feel like we have a chance to take down some top dogs. So I feel like if we bring in that same energy and just continue to just get better each and every day, just like we were at JMU, I think we can have a really similar path. Being top in the country and ultimately going to March Madness. So yeah, I often think about that. Just the similar paths that I feel like we're going on. So
Absolutely. And it's so interesting to have, you come in here with your experience of March Madness. Ja'Kai Robinson obviously has the experience of going to March Madness with Bryant, but also that incredible run that he was on with that Miami team. Aaron Davis and the returners now have that experience as well. So it
yeah,
really bodes well for you guys having, different experiences at the big dance, but, having the experience of just getting there in general that, really gives you guys a ton of, experience and helps you guys in that arena. But you talk about being able to, take down some big players and some big dogs, during your time at previous stops. Just how much of an emphasis is it for you guys to really come out of the gates early and make a early statement at this season?
I think it's a big emphasis. Coach Christian made the schedule the way it is for a reason, and I think that if we just apply pressure to anybody who's got a big name and just realize that it's all about once you step in those between those lines on the court, it's anybody's game. So I think just putting an emphasis on just like I said, just focus on winning each and every day, and ultimately just taking them down, which I think we can do.
Yeah. for you, just, obviously being new to the fans here, it's a new coaching staff. Like, what can you tell the fans about, your play style, what you're going to really bring to the table here at the Chase in the next couple of weeks?
Just, a winning style. Obviously, I'm gonna bring a lot of highlights, I'm gonna bring a lot of big plays, but I think one thing that I've kind of transitioned the maybe maturing my game is just winning plays, Um, just Coach Bruce has been working on me with my defense, so hopefully a lot of defensive stops, a lot of big defensive plays, but yeah, just a fun style, but ultimately just a winning style, just coming in night out, just do what it takes to win.
Absolutely. And then, when just looking at the team in general, we've had, Coach Christian on. He's talked about the system. I've had Aaron Davis talk about, how different it is from the style
Mhm.
he played in just a season ago. Just, for the fans here, just kind of give us a bit of a preview as to what this brand of Bryant basketball is going to look like.
It's fast, it's fun. I think that it's different. Like I mentioned before, that he's coming from overseas, so he's definitely implied a lot of aspects in that area. Just with the fast pace, different concepts of defense that I think we can use to our advantage overall. Because I don't think a lot of these teams that we're playing have seen the style that we have going on, and if we can implement it the right way and do whatever Coach Christian says, I think we're going to be successful. Just because teams have never seen the stuff we're trying to do.
Absolutely. And then, final thing, Quincy, November 3rd, it's only a couple days away now. It's,
Yeah,
getting so close. I just,
yeah.
how excited are you to
I'm
suit up?
excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. It's been a long journey, and I got a good feeling about this stop. So, I'm excited, and we got a great group of guys that we're gonna do some great things this year. It's gonna be ups and downs, but you know, we love each other so much, and I think that we got just such a good chemistry and a great bond that we're gonna overcome anything and ultimately be on top. So,
Absolutely. Well, Quincy, we really appreciate you taking the time tonight. We'll talk to you soon, and best of luck to you this season.
yep. Thank you for having me on. See you soon.
Absolutely. Take care, Quincy. Well,
Yes,
Matt,
sir.
that's going to be our final guest of the evening. We wanted to thank Quincy again for coming on the program. It was great having him on the show. Matt, just give us some of your final thoughts with men's basketball before we end things off tonight.
Absolutely, Brian. We are 2 weeks away, and I just can't wait to get into some Bryant hoops right around the corner on November 3rd. But with that, Brian, we're up against it. Take us
Yeah.
home.
Absolutely. Well, Matt, I do just want to say really quickly, a quick shout out to the Bryant men's soccer team. They got a big week coming up. Ranked number 2 in the country, playing some high quality opponents with number 5 Princeton and number 7 Vermont this weekend. I did just want to shout those out. I know we didn't have any players from their team on this week, but I did just want to say that it's a big week for them. And I think that, there's a chance they can take that number 1 seed this week. I wish them the best of luck and hope the coaches polls go their way, and we'll have to see how that goes. And then also this Wednesday is going to be Bryant Giving Day. It's a big day on the campus for athletics, but just the university as a whole. I know we talked about it with Coach Merritt. We encourage everyone to give to a cause of your choosing, to a team, an academic department, whatever you see fit. It could be a student club or organization. Just give and try to give whatever you can to these teams, and we encourage it on Wednesday, October 22nd. So, Matt, we are at the end of the line now. I do just want to say we appreciate you all for tuning in tonight. We'll be back next week, but from Brian Kostiw and Matt Carvalho, you're listening to the Bryant Bulldog Sports Hour.